Hi, everyone. My name is Miranda Ward with the Valuable Voices podcast. I'm so excited for you to hear from my friend Charity Parris today. And it's so cool. We just met just a few weeks ago online, just on a team call of a company we're both a part of. And she can share a little bit more, but gosh, I just feel connected to her almost like a little sister. I don't even know how old you are, but she's just a beautiful woman, as you can tell. And I've heard bits and pieces of her story. And I was just sharing, I feel like sometimes we take our pain and we make that into our purpose. And I love that because as you know, I just want a place where women can feel encouraged and loved, and we all have a voice. So I just want to introduce you to Charity and hear some of her story. So thanks for being on today.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah, and she's in Austin, Texas, which I was telling her I love Austin. I'm in Chicago, so I might have to make a visit down there sometime. It is beautiful down there, so
Really
I love it.
is.
Well, let's just start, wherever you want to go. Again, I love just kind of the bits and pieces I've heard of your story. So, and I know you have an amazing business, One and Thriving. So I want to kind of hear, how you started it, where you were kind of before that, again, whatever you feel like sharing.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll kind of take you back before the business stuff even came about, because that's kind of what got me to this point in the first place. So back in, let's see, I think it was like 2015 is when, or actually before that, around 2013 is when I started and I got my master's in teaching. And so I ended up teaching for about 5 years, and I've taught first, second, and third grade. And every time I would change a different grade, I was like, okay, this is going to be different. This is going to be different. Like, I'm going to enjoy it more and things like that. But there's just something about teaching in itself for me personally. Like, I was just very just very overwhelmed, and I couldn't breathe almost. And at that point too, I was also married, and I was just having some difficult times there as well, just kind of getting support from home and just having like stress there, and then stress with work. And back in like 2016, 2017 is where my health kind of started to go downhill, and I was still a teacher at that time, and I was just struggling. I didn't know what was even going on. I went to many doctors and just tried to figure out what was going on. I went to I got this test done where it told me that I had a hernia because I was having lots of like acid reflux, but then they were trying to put me on all this medication. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. But then I started to have all these other symptoms of like bloating and brain fog and mood changes and low libido and all this other stuff. And I couldn't figure it out. I was like, what is going on?
You completely healthy up to that?
I was completely, yeah.
Wow,
Nothing wrong ever. And then all of a sudden it was like this stress and all these things just started to come up. I was shocked.
Yeah.
And so I decided to take on my own research and was like, I am going to figure this out because I am determined to not go on medication. I don't want to keep spending thousands of dollars on all these things when I'm getting zero results. So I just dove in. I started to read every single book I could possibly think of. I listened to so many podcasts and tried like every diet, everything out there. And so finally went to a doctor who's like more naturopathic, and we did some tests and found out that I had candida, SIBO, parasite, H. pylori, all of those things. And so during that whole process, I just continued to research on those specific things. And so I ended up losing like 10 to 12 pounds. So I was at like 98 pounds. I was so thin, which I didn't realize that at the time because like I didn't really believe people who were telling me. I was like, I feel fine, I look great, but now like looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so thin. But kind of during that whole process of trying to heal myself and heal my gut and all of that, I just fell in love with nutrition and the wellness space and how you can heal your body in a very holistic, natural way. And so I just was trying to help my teachers do the same thing, since I was still a teacher at the time. I was like trying to do workouts with them. I was trying to do all different kinds of recipes, and I would always bring them treats because I love to bake. So I was always like recreating my favorite desserts and bringing them for them to try and things like that.
I love it.
And so I just became known as like the healthy teacher in the school, you know. But then back in 2000, what was it, 18, in like June of that year, I decided, you know, I can't teach anymore. Like it is so stressful, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And so my husband at the time was like, okay, why don't you quit? Like, you know, we'll figure it out. And I was like, okay. So I did, and I just didn't have any idea what I was going to do at that point, because I was like, teaching is giving me a salary, but at the same time I was not happy, and my happiness was more important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it was definitely a huge leap of faith, but God definitely provided for sure. So I signed up to be a part of the NTA program to be a nutritional therapy practitioner.
Okay.
And then, so that was going to start in September of that same year. And I was like, okay, well, we'll just see what happens. And then at the same time, I was looking on Indeed for different jobs and came across Noom. And so I don't know if y'all have heard of that, but it's kind of like a wellness psychology based program where they really help people change their behaviors and their mindset to create like a healthy lifestyle. And so I was like, this is awesome. And I applied having no idea what was going to happen. And I got the job. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And it was something that I could work from home. It was something I could create my own hours. I didn't have to like have the stress of other things. And it was something that I was passionate about. And I was like, thank you, Lord. Like something that, yeah, it was so out of the blue. And because I have a degree in teaching. So I was like, how am I going to get this? Right. But I had been doing some other things on this side with that just kind of, I think, helped. But so I started in September of 2018 with both of those. They both started in the same month. And my husband at the time and I were looking for a house, and we found one. We moved in January of 2019. And in February, he was like, I want to get a divorce. And I was like, wait, what? Like, we just bought a house together. Like, I don't understand, like, what's going on. And I mean, there were some things that were leading up to that, but I had no idea that he was to that point.
Right.
I had already previously been going to counseling myself for my own health. And so, but I just had no idea. I was just completely out of alignment with that.
Right.
And so, honestly, at that point, that's kind of where my faith took a turn for the better, because I didn't have anything else to rely on but my faith. And so every day I would wake up at like 5 in the morning, study, or I would first work out and then I would study for my program that I was going through. And then I would spend like an hour in the Word every day. And then I would work for Noom and then continue on with some other side things that I was doing. And I just kept doing that over and over again. And God just showed me so much peace and like grace during that whole process, that even though like my whole life now has just like turned upside down, like I could still have hope and faith in something bigger, that this is just a stepping stone to something greater that he has planned. And this whole time though, we were still under the same roof. Like we didn't even get into separate places until like May. So it's from like February to May that all this is still going on, and the amount of like stress just continued. And so my health was like in a flux, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was really good and then sometimes it was not. And I realized that it was the stress that was like just eating me alive. I didn't realize how much stress got to me before, because I was one that would, if it didn't go my way, then I would let the whole day just be like ruined, and I would just be so over analytical. I would think over everything so much, and I was just stressed all the time, and I wouldn't live for the day. I was always thinking ahead of like, what do I have to get done? We have to plan this, we have to do that, and like I couldn't even enjoy the moment. And so honestly, if that divorce and this thing did not happen, I would not be where I'm at right now, because God showed me in that whole year is to just enjoy the moment and enjoy where he has me today, because I can't control. I have zero control over what's going to happen. I only have control over my actions and how I like respond to things. And so that whole year, I finally moved out in May and got my own place. And that was a whole new thing, just trying to like learn to live by myself again and kind of pick up with where, like it took me a long time to kind of figure out what my purpose was and like what God was wanting me to do, because you know, when you work from home and I'm an extrovert, so for me to work from home is hard. Like I love to talk to people. If you can't tell, I love to talk. So for me, just kind of, so for me, like working from home was just like really hard. And so that in itself was like a big change. But then living on my own again was another whole new realm to that. And so I had to again like rely on the Lord. And my friends were like, how are you so good? Like you seem like really good. I was like, I am. I was like, because God has like given me peace about this. Like I truly do feel like I'm okay, and that things will be okay eventually, even though I'm not 100%. Like he has bigger plans for me. And so I just kept trying to figure out what that was. And with Noom, that was my full-time job. So it is like a 8-hour a day thing. But I was like, I want to pick up my business, you know? And so I kind of renamed it because it was something before, but I wanted to like rebrand myself, starting over, and which is how I got One and Thriving.
Okay, I was going to ask,
Because to me, it was like, okay, one, like you are one person, you are, everything works together in the body, the mind, the heart, the soul, the body, like health, it all works in synchronicity together. And so to me, it was like, you are one person and you are going to thrive. Like we are going to make sure that you are going to thrive in this world. And so just learning how people cannot be so focused on like the health piece or what they're eating and what they're like doing to like work out, but it really is about the mind and the spirit and the stress, all of it. And so yeah, it just kind of developed over time, and it's been a slow process, but it's been something where God has been showing me like to be okay in that slow process, that I probably like success overnight is not going to grow character.
right.
For me to have true success and for me to grow in my faith and to grow in myself, like I need to be patient. It's going to take time, it's going to take effort, but he's going to reward that in the end. And so just kind of, you know, taking it one day at a time. And I'm almost done, I promise.
No, you're good. I love it. I love it.
But then with Noom, like I just felt there was just so much more for me. I love the company, I love what they do, and I love the job, but I felt like God has just really been trying to show me that you can do more.
Yeah.
I wasn't really figuring out what that was with this job. And so I was like, okay, maybe I really need to like stretch myself with my own client, with my own business, and really see what I can do. And that's when a friend told me about this new company that I've been like working with, and they do have a faith-based
Yes.
like mission plus the holistic and natural piece. I was like, there's no way that there's a company that has both. Like, there's just no
It's too good
way.
to be true.
Yeah. And so she told me about it, and I started to watch all these videos, and I just fell in love with the founder and like her passion for the Lord and how she wants to empower women to find their voice and to find their vision and to use the gifts that God has given them. And so I was like, you know what? I say no more. I am in. Like, I just felt this like overwhelming like thing from God that says, go with it. Like,
Me
trust
too.
me,
Yes.
I will like provide. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
I love that. So many things. I feel like I could go in a million different directions. There's so many things I want to ask you. Like, I love your faith. I love your faith. And I know it might have taken something that you were not expecting to get to where you are. I'm curious kind of how you grew up. Like, did you grow up going to church? Did you know the Lord? Because obviously your faith is so strong. And I'm just kind of curious where you were before that.
Yeah, totally. So I grew up in the church. I grew up going to church every Sunday, went to church camp every summer. So was raised Baptist, and my faith has always been a big part of my life, but it was one of those things where I would just fit it in when it was necessary.
Right.
You know, I would, pray when I felt like I needed support, or I would read my Bible here and there, or I always attended church, but I never really had like a true relationship with God.
Yes.
And so when my divorce was in that process, the only thing that kept me going was digging into the Word and taking a lot of breaks and listening to Christian songs. Like I'm not even kidding, like day after day, I would go on like an hour walk just listening to like Christian music. I would lay in my bed with these AirPods in, just listening and just like meditating. And I felt him like just surrounding me and giving me this like comfort blanket that I've never experienced before. So it just made me fall in love with actually having a relationship with God. And like, how can I rely on that, whether it's good or bad?
And then you just want more, right? You just want to keep doing that every day and make it a habit. Absolutely. When he fills you up like that. Okay. So, and I'm curious, now that you know what you know, the stress that you were feeling and the sickness or whatever that you had, do you feel like that was all related? Like stress kind of makes us sick. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I feel like sometimes we're so stressed and worked up and I'm run on this hamster wheel, and then all of a sudden like your body or your physical, you're just like, what happened? I don't feel well. I just feel like it's all related. And you kind of said that with like the mind, the body, the heart, the soul, it's so all related. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know if everybody puts those all together. Like you said, I think people think, oh, I'll just have broccoli today and I should feel better, but it's not. It's the whole thing. I love that oneness aspect of it too. That's so good. And I love how you just listen to your body to say, I'm stressed. This doesn't feel right. Because sometimes I feel like we keep going as a wife, as a mom, or as women, as anything. But I feel like taking a step back to listen to our body. And thank God your husband at the time said, take a break. I was at that place too, where I was crying on my way to work every day. I hated it. I was so stressed. I'm like, this isn't right. This isn't what God has planned for me. There's more. And I loved your live yesterday. It's just about more. You want more. And I think we're called to grow. We're called for more. It's just so good. I can totally relate with everything you're saying. So, and I feel like, because I can say yes to a lot of things, and it sounds like, I've really been kind of asking the Lord, like, do I really go with this other company? Because I'm already with the company and I'm already doing all these things, but you just feel it, right? So it's like following your heart. And I think he takes maybe your full-time job and your coaching program and this new holistic company, and you can do, you're going to network with different people. They all have similar messages. And I feel like as an entrepreneur, you can thrive in all those places and you're following your heart and you're doing what you love. So all that to say, I'm just totally inspired by you. I love it. So what would be, I know you have a website, oneandthriving.com. So I'll definitely point people there. What are, I looked a little bit, but what would you say to somebody that's just not feeling well and needs help? And obviously they could probably do a one-on-one with you. What would you recommend to somebody that's kind of in this place? Like, what do I do?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the first thing would definitely just be kind of to analyze what they're eating, how much sleep that they're getting, how much water they're drinking. And so definitely trying to take it one thing at a time, because like you said, it can be easy, or you want to just do all of the things all at once, and then you feel like a failure because you can't. So it's better just to take, yeah. So it's better just to take it like one thing at a time. So if you have this list of, I want to, lose 10 pounds, I want to stop drinking alcohol, and I want to stop eating sugar, and stop having I want to work out 5 times a week, and all this
stuff. That's a lot. That makes me tired just thinking about it.
Yeah. So yeah, I would just say just pick one thing that you feel that you can be that you can do every day and feel that you can be consistent with, and then once you get the hang of that, then you can add on something else, and then from there you start to build that confidence. You see progress, you are feeling good. And so and another thing too is don't get so set on the number on the scale or things like that, because I know as women, the way that we look and the way that we want to feel and look is so important to us, but we also get caught up in that. I'm very guilty of that.
Yeah.
And so just to look at other ways of progress too, like the number on the scale is just one thing, but how, is your energy better? Are you sleeping more? Does your clothes fit better? How is your skin? All of these things all take part in your journey and where you started and where you're going. And it's like we said before, just one day at a time, one step, one win, and you'll eventually get there. And it might not be super quick. It might take a little bit longer, but as long as you're making daily effort, then it's a win.
Yes, you are speaking my language. And I think I just finally came to the realization of that within the past couple of weeks, because I felt like I need to do this, like you said, more water, less sugar, work out, whatever, and all those things. And then I don't do it and I feel like I failed. So the next Monday I start again. But yeah, it's really just breaking it down, doing one thing at a time. And you may not feel like you're making as much progress, but if you stick to that habit and that one thing, you're going to get there way faster. So I'm totally with you there. I love that.
Well, and it also gets you away from that all or nothing mentality. Like I have to either do it all or I can't do anything.
Or
and
having to do it perfect, right?
Exactly.
Been there.
Exactly.
Just do a little bit. And yeah, it might take longer, but I honestly think it'll be quicker in the long run because you're actually taking action. So obviously I believe in coaches. I love that. I assume you probably have a coach or somebody in your life that, you go to, or a counselor. I mean, I love that. I'm all about counseling, coaching, mentors. So one last question for you, do you have a book or a podcast or a coach or a mentor? Obviously God is huge in your life, but anything else that would be like somebody that's just somebody you look up to or somebody that you would recommend?
Yeah. So Jenny Allen for me has been huge. I love her books about getting out of your head.
Yes.
And she has some great devotionals too. And she has a podcast as well.
That's great.
She is someone that I have listened to on repeat, and I read her books on repeat.
I love it. Perfect.
Yeah. So that would be one I would definitely recommend for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I can't wait to meet you in person and give you a hug, hopefully sooner rather than later. But thanks for being on. I really appreciate you. I loved hearing more of your story, and I love just watching you grow. It's been inspiring. So thanks. Keep being you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, if you guys are listening or watching and you know anybody that should be on here that has a voice, somebody that you want to, that has inspired you and maybe we need to hear from, please let us know. But otherwise, have a great day. Thanks, Charity.
Thank you so much.